Hey there, in this video we're going to cover creating conversion events in Google Analytics 4, firing those conversion events through the Google Tag Manager, and then importing those events as conversions into Google Ads so that we can measure properly, right? So this is going to cover conversion events for form submissions. Events can be anything, right? But the most popular conversion events in terms of what we see in Google Ads are usually form submissions and phone calls. Phone calls will be in a different video. Typically we just do that through Google Tag Manager. But let's talk about how we actually implement these events in GA4. So if you haven't installed GA4 yet, there's a video on that. I'll link it in the description. If you're not familiar with Google Tag Manager, there's a video on that as well that'll be in the description. But to make this as easy as possible, we're going to start with the Google Tag Manager. And in the Tag Manager itself, so you want to be in your Tag Manager and go into the Tags section. We're going to create a tag. Now, I've already created one here. Let me just bring this up because what we're going to do is we're going to create a GA4 event. Now, in order for this to work, you will have had to configure Google Analytics. So Analytics 4 should be running on your website. Again, if it's not running on your website, do that first. I will link the video. I will link to another video which shows you how to do that. Okay, so make sure that GA4 is running on your website. Once that's done, what we do is we create a brand new tag. So we're in the Google Tag Manager. We're going to click New. We will select Tag Configuration and Google Analytics GA4 event. We are going to create an event name. So the event name is anything you want. So a lot of times we'll just say form submission. I already have one called that, so I'm just going to call it form submission 2. Now under configuration tag, you should have the GA4 configuration. So when you go through the process of creating the tag that fires GA4 on your website, you'll be able to give it a name, any name you want, right? So what I did was I named it GA4, and then the number of each data stream has its own unique number. Now you can use your own naming conventions, but whatever you've created prior to this, and that is like creating your GA4 connectivity with your website, whatever that name is, that's what you'll select here from the drop down. Okay, now this is an event that we want to fire on specific pages. Okay, so in this particular case we're talking about our thank you page. We have a bunch of different triggers here for different pages. There's one here called thank you page because we've done this prior. Now let me just take you through if you were doing this from scratch. So you would say, we're going to go up to page view. We're going to say page view, not all page views. You don't want it to fire. Remember, it's a conversion event, right? So you want it to fire on very specific pages. I'm going to say, and again, use your own naming conventions, but I'm going to say page view thank you. And I'm just going to say test because I'm not really going to be using this, and I'll delete it later, okay? So under page view, I don't want all, I want some page views, and what I can do is I can say page URL contains, let's say that it contains thanks, or maybe the page contains thank you. It depends again on your website, right? So if you don't know, go through the process of submitting a form and see what the URL looks like. By the way, just a quick aside, some of these forms don't even go to a thank you page. They might just call themselves. If that's the case, there's another way of tracking conversions, and we'll cover that in another video because that can be a little tricky. There's different things that you could look at to trigger conversions, but this is a situation where it is just a cut and dry thank you page, and we're measuring conversions off of the form gets submitted and then the user gets sent to a very specific page. So whatever that URL is, that's what we're plugging in here, okay? I'm going to say save. I'm going to title the tag. So I'm going to say GA4. Again, use your own naming conventions. GA4 event thank you page. All right. And there I'll say save. Now what you want to do once you've created that, it is actually a preview and give it a test. So you'll click preview. It's going to fire up the tag assistant, enter in your URL starting with HTTPS, and then connect to your website. So it's going to connect up to the website. So I'm now I'm going to be in debugging mode. So I can go back over into the Google Tag Manager, and I can actually then go into, for example, the form submission, and I could fill out the form and click submit, and then go back over into the Google Tag Manager, and I would be able to see. Now I did not do that, right? And you can see contact page here, but if it's working, that event will be showing up on that particular page, because this preview page just shows the activity as you're going through the website and testing different things. And it'll show you which tags have fired. You can see tags fired here, or tags that have not been fired. Okay, so once you hit submit, you should be able to see that tag that you just created. Okay, in this case, the tag was called GA4 test, but yours would probably be called something like GA4 form submission, right? In fact, let me do this real quick, because we did set up. I did set this up previously as a test, so let me just go through. Just put in some fake information here. Yes, Google. Okay, so I'm going to click Let's Get Started. It's going to go to the Submit Thank You page. You can see it's actually thanks. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here, and you can see it's tracked the thank you page on thanks, and you can see the other one that I had set up, which is the GA4 form submission, which is right here. Okay, so that's working. So at that point, it's working. We haven't actually submitted it to the website yet. In order to do that, we actually have to come up here and then click submit. And that would then bring it over to the website. So once you confirm that it's working, go ahead and go through, give it a version name if you want, or some information, and just publish. All right, so I'm not going to do that because I already have one. We're going to go over into Google Analytics at this point. So now what we've done is we've created this GA4 events tag that's in the Google Tag Manager. Now we're going to go over into Analytics and actually mark it as a conversion. Okay, so log into your Google Analytics account. Down here in the lower left-hand corner, you're going to go into your admin section. And in the middle column, you're going to click on events. And remember, you're going to have proper permissions on this as well, right? So I believe you have to have admin permissions for this, but your event is going to be eventually listed here. Okay, so what we're going to do is, and it doesn't happen right away. That's a tricky thing. So a lot of times this doesn't even show up for 24 hours. So be patient. I just did a test, so you'll want to do that for sure, right? So once you set up that conversion event in Google Tag Manager, go over to your website, do a test, actually activate that submission, that event, and then wait for it. It usually takes up to 24 hours, okay? But you should be able to see it. Now, this is the one I submitted yesterday as a test called form submission, right? And once you see it, then you can go over here and mark it as a conversion. And that's the important thing. Right, so marking it as a conversion, because when you see it, it's going to be grayed out. Okay, so make sure you mark that as a conversion, and that will then say, okay, there's the event. We know now that that event is considered a conversion, but you're not done yet. Okay, it's conversion in Google Analytics 4. Now what you need to do is go over into your Google Ads account. Now, if your Google Ads account is not connected to GA4, you have to do that first, all right? And I did a video on that as well. So please, do a search on the channel. I'll link to that in this video as well. But what you need to do is go into conversions. That's under Tools and Settings. Now, Google Ads is currently in the process of changing out this entire user interface. So your interface could very well look different. But it should be in a similar area. So under Tools and Settings, go into Conversions. Currently it's under Measurement, and you'll do New Conversion Action, so select that button, And what we're going to do is we're going to import the conversion, right? So we import the conversion, we select Google Analytics 4 properties. This is pre-selected for app, which is a little weird because most of the time it's web. So go ahead and select web and then continue, and you will see your form submission. If it doesn't show up right away, again, be patient and wait because it will show up. And you can see the one that I set up here as a test, GA4, is showing up. I'm going to click that and I'm going to import and continue. Okay, so I'm done. But what you want to do is actually double check this conversion. So let's see if we can find it. So here it is right here, GA4 form submission. Now note that it's marked it as a secondary. So secondary conversions are observational only, okay? So if that's a main conversion for your website, and if you want that conversion to be meaningful data for Google Ads to be able to say, aha, that represents success on the website, we are going to use that to inform the algorithm so that we can tie into like smart bidding, like target CPA or target ROAS, to be able to utilize those success signals to be able to train that algorithm to find you more of the customers that you need to grow your business, then you want to mark that as a primary conversion. Okay, so in this particular case, it was marked as a secondary. I'm going to go back in there, and what I'll do is go into edit settings, and I'm going to scroll down to that second section here, and you can see I can change it to the primary action for bidding optimization. Okay, so that's what you want to do. Be very careful you're not double counting those. Like sometimes just look at all your conversion actions. Make sure somebody hasn't already set this up as perhaps, there's different ways to count conversions, right? You can do it through analytics. You can do it directly in Google Ads using Google Tag Manager. So just make sure you're not double counting if you are adding this through Google Analytics, all right? Let me see here. Actually, I just realized that probably was not the right one. Was that UA? Let's scroll. Oh no, here it is. Okay, just went into a different sort order. It kind of confused me there for a second. But okay, so now we've got it in Google Ads. Okay, so just kind of recap what we did. We created we started in Google Tag Manager, right? So we created a tag that was for a very specific thank you page. I created a GA4 event. Then we went into Google Analytics and we marked that event as a conversion. We did have to wait for a while for it to show up, right? So there was a delay. And then we went into Google Ads and then imported that conversion from GA4 and then made sure that it was marked as a primary versus a secondary if it was really an important conversion for the business, okay? And that's it. All right, hopefully you found this helpful. Please like and subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you can. Appreciate your time and have a great day. Thank you.